Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video, and today I wanted to share with you one modern issue that, if I could kind of pick any modern issue, this is the one issue that I think is a really good investment right now, and even better, it's kind of like underfollowed and underappreciated, I would say. It's not one that, is always recommended out of new modern issues. And so for this issue, I'm thinking of comic books after 1995. I think before 1995 there's a lot of options to choose from. You could go like first Harley Quinn, Batman Adventures 12, first Carnage even, Amazing Spider-Man 361, and New Mutants 98 comes to mind, first Deadpool. So those would be all really good investments as well, I think. But I wanted to kind of do something off the map a little bit more, so something from 1995 to now. What would be a great issue to buy that I think will hold its value and hopefully go up over time. So the issue I'm choosing is Batman Beyond #1. And Batman Beyond, you're getting the first appearance of Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond #1, first Batman Beyond in comics, essentially. And yeah, I think it's got a lot going for it, and we'll get into a couple reasons why I think it's a really good investment. First, I'll let you know kind of about some CGC census details. There are 37% of all Batman Beyonds are CGC 9.8. So that's not too much of a favorable ratio, but for a modern age comic, you're not really buying these because they're rare in the 9.8s. You're more buying them because of the coolness of the characters, whatever first appearance it might be, and just the overall following and popularity of the books. Because 37% is not that much of a favorable ratio. I wouldn't say it's like super high either. I know some modern issues are like 50 to 60% of them are 9.8s. So it's not incredibly high, but certainly not a reason why you would invest in the book. Whereas actually, like in the 80s, I think that's actually a good strategy, is to look at the census and, for example, Amazing Spider-Man 300, only 6% of all graded copies are 9.8s, compared to this one, 37%. So obviously an older issue, but you can get an idea of why Amazing Spider-Man is so expensive. Amazing Spider-Man 300 is so expensive in the 9.8 white pages, just because it's really rare. So this is a modern issue, you're not too worried about that. Although it's not a heavily graded issue, there's only 124 9.8s in the CGC on the census. So, you're getting a 1 of 124 collection item. That's not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. So let's get into some of the reasons why I think it's a good investment. I got 3 reasons here. So the first reason is, you are getting a sort of iconic first appearance. So first Batman Beyond in comics, first appearance of Terry McGinnis, and you always want that sort of tangible reason to buy the comic for it to end up being a good investment down the road, and usually that happens in like a first appearance or an origin. So yeah, definitely Batman Beyond #1 is a legit key issue. Now the second reason is Batman Beyond has a really big cult following already. It's already really popular, and that's sort of reflected in the prices of these issues actually, and we'll get into the prices a bit later. But they are quite high for a book, that was made in 1999. So already really popular with a cult following, and first reason was the first appearance. Third reason is when and if they get around to making a Batman Beyond movie, it's going to be like just completely epic. I could just imagine how it would be, and I was a bit disappointed when there's obviously some rumblings of the new Batman movie, and apparently there's like 10 villains in it as well, which is fine. I mean, I'm gonna see it. I think it looks really cool, but I hadn't heard any rumblings for Batman Beyond, so I didn't have my hopes up or anything. But I was hoping the next Batman movie would be a Batman Beyond movie, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be. So yeah, I'm not really letting you guys know about like some rumor or anything like that. It's like pure speculation, but I mean, what they could do with a Batman Beyond movie, I just think would be so cool. I think it would be just such a hit. Yeah, just being like, you know, Bruce Wayne already has sweet weapons and gadgets, but, you know, imagine a Batman Beyond, how awesome they can make the gadgets with like modern visual effects and CGI and everything. I could just imagine how awesome it would be. So yeah, that's my third reason. And obviously there's no movie now, and what you want to do when you invest in comics generally is, rather than seeing a trailer for a hot movie and going on eBay and searching for that character and looking at their books and possibly buying a book, that's kind of how you don't want to go about it. Whereas you want to position yourself before the movie comes out, before the pop culture event comes out. And so I think you're in that situation here with Batman Beyond #1. And I mean, you know, you always have to buy what you love. That's like my number one rule when investing in comics, is buy what you love. And I mean, Batman Beyond, it has a cult following. It's so awesome. The cartoon came out in the 90s. That's what kind of sort of got me into it. And, you know, we're almost 20 years later now. And you'd think like some of those kids that were watching that cartoon might have decent jobs now and are able to, you know, pay up for an investment 10, 20 years down the road. That'll only be better, I would think. And yeah, you know what, the prices reflect that, I would say. So getting into some of the pricing, I purchased this last year, and living in Canada, I found it hard to find one of these, and even harder because they were all in the States, so you have to bring them over the border. A lot of times at the border they'll like open the package, and any comic, I don't like to buy a comic that's worth like $300 or $400 and bring it over the border. Generally, I've done it a couple times, and you know, you're getting like $50, $60 charge at the door on top of like the price you paid, and a lot of times they ripped open the package to like see what's inside of it, so they could possibly damage it. So I purchased this one in Canada. It came from inside Canada. And it was, he initially had it at a $625 buy it now in Canadian dollars. So that's putting you about $450 US. And yeah, I messaged him a couple times, and you know, would you consider like $550? And I was making a couple offers through messaging, but he was pretty firm. So I just ended up purchasing the book. And it, you know, that, yeah, the price is going to come around $450 US. So I would say I overpaid for this slightly. I'm looking for another one or two in the 9.8 white pages, so hopefully on that one I'll get a better deal, because I think a good deal for this issue would be $350, even $399 US. I think it is a decent deal for this one, but a really good deal I think would be $350, maybe even $300 if you know, see an auction from someone that is maybe trying to get rid of it in a week or whatever. But yeah, in general, $350 to $400, I would say, is a fair price for Batman Beyond #1. And another thing you want to keep in mind, because there's another issue that looks like exactly like this, but it's an origin issue. And you can notice it by this. You see, it has a UPC code here. This is the first print of Batman Beyond #1. This is going to be the one that the collectors really want. That origin issue, it has like a white bar here where the UPC is. That's kind of, the cover looks exactly the same, so it's a bit tough that way. So make sure if you do buy Batman Beyond #1, you do want the first print with the UPC edition. This is going to be the one that the collectors want down the line. So yeah, you don't want to mess around with that origin issue. And another thing I'll mention too, because a modern book, if your budget permits, for modern books, you pretty much always want to buy a 9.8. White pages too, 9.8 white pages. And, you know, it's just, if you think about from the collector's point of view, you know, in 5 or 10 years when you want to sell these issues, you're going to want to try to get top dollar for them, and the only people that are kind of willing to pay the top dollar are going to be like the hardcore collectors. And, you know, they don't want 9.6s or 9.4s. They're just going to want the 9.8. So, as I've recommended, especially with books in the 90s and 2000s, you know, in the 80s and 70s the prices get high, and totally understand, you know, maybe going for a 9.6 or a 9.4, but Yeah, anything in the 90s or the thousands or earlier, or even more modern, I would definitely go with the 9.8 white pages, especially if you're thinking about it sort of from like an investment point of view, which I am personally. Yeah, so one issue that I could choose from the modern age. There were a couple I was thinking about. That even the Teen Titans number 12 is with the first appearance of Batman Who Laughs. I know that's like a really new and kind of hot issue, and maybe not, you wouldn't want to go and rush out and buy that one, but that's going to be another first appearance with the Batman Who Laughs, and I think that one's probably going to be a really good buy and sort of prove people wrong. Prove the sort of people that are saying it's too hot, it's let it cool down a bit. So yeah, that was another one I considered, but you know what? This one sort of checks all those boxes. There's not a huge pop culture event for Batman Beyond right now. There's no movie coming out or in the works right now. So in general, the only people that are talking about it are pretty much collectors and people who really like the cult following that Batman Beyond has. And that's sort of the situation you want to purchase a comic book for investment in. I'd invite you all to look at my Amazing Spider-Man 300 video, where basically I saw the Venom trailer and got really excited, went on eBay, and I was like hunting on eBay for a week or two, and I finally saw a CGC 9.8 of Amazing Spider-Man 300, and I bought it for too much. So hopefully with this issue you can kind of position yourself before the pop culture storm comes, whenever it does come. And yeah, I mean, with the Batman movie coming out, it's looking like at least probably another 5 years for a hope of a Batman Beyond movie. But until then, you got an awesome first appearance of Terry McGinnis and Batman Beyond in comics, and that's what you want to do. You want to buy things that you love, and you want to as you hold them, you don't really care about the value. It's just the whole pride of ownership of having it. And this definitely delivers that in spades. And yeah, for some reason I do just have a really good feeling that this is a good time to buy this right now, because like I said, everything is no Batman Beyond culture, pop culture events, no movies. You're going to get a fair price in that environment, and then you'll be in control if the Batman Beyond movie comes out, or if there's some pickup in Batman Beyond for whatever reason it might be. So yeah, you know what? Batman Beyond number 1, I think personally, in my opinion, probably the best modern issue to buy right now. And yeah, you know what? Kind of got to pay up for it a little bit if you're looking into the 9.8 white pages. Yeah, as I said, probably paid about $450 for this one. If you can find one for $350 or $400, I think that's a pretty fair price. I have a rough copy of the same issue, and yeah, that's probably like a 9.4 or 9.6, and I paid about $100 Canadian for that. So yeah, maybe like $80 American. That's coming in at. But yeah, I think for a modern issue, and it's got a first appearance, it's got a cult following. It's not, the prices aren't inflated because of some movie or whatever it means, and I think or whatever the movie when it comes out. But that's the situation that you want to buy comics in. For about $400, $450, you're still a lot of money. But yeah, I think if I could easily see this, if a movie comes out, if everything is and the movie's good and it's kind of a hit, and again, this is like 5-10 years down the road, I could see this thing going for like $700-800 American, pushing that $1,000 Canadian level. Obviously in 5 or 10 years, so don't expect anything quick, I would say, with this issue, being that, like I said, there's no real hot movie or pop culture event coming up. But you know what, Batman Beyond number 1, I think in the modern age you could do a lot worse as far as from a comic that you can expect it to hold its value and hopefully have some good price appreciation over time too. So that'll be all for this video. Definitely, I was kind of racking my mind about the one modern issue I could share with you guys as a good investment, and I think Batman Beyond, like I said, you could do a lot worse than that. So thanks for watching the video, guys. If you like this video, I'll be sharing a lot more of my comic collection, and I got a lot of different ideas for videos coming up. So if you do like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.